Hello, I'm Ricky Reynolds, your local paleogeography expert. I'm coming to you from the Paleocene. Supercontinent Laurasia has not yet separated into three continents. Europe and Greenland are still connected. North America and Asia are still intermittently joined by a land bridge, while Greenland and North America are just now beginning to separate. The lower minor orogeny of North America has begun on the west coast, just beginning to form the Rocky Mountains. South and North America are still separated by equatorial seas. The component of the former southern supercontinent Gondwanaland continued to split apart, with Africa, South America, Antarctica, and Australia pulling away from each other. Africa headed north into Europe, slowly closing the Test Ocean, and India began its migration towards Asia, eventually forming the Himalayas. The inland seas in North America and Europe had receded by the beginning of the Paleocene, making way for new land-based flora and fauna. Lastly, warm seas circulated throughout the worlds, including the poles. Tropical conditions gave rise to abundant marine life and including coral reefs. Thank you. Signing out.
So here's what's new in life. So for plant life, we'll see that palm trees, ferns, and cactus are introduced. None of the mammals that exist right now specialize in teeth or nor limbs. Among the mammals, we can see the first primates along with rodents, condylarths, platypus, and kangaroos. We can also see that the birds are starting to rediversify, and reptiles are more widely dispersed. Back to you guys.
Hi there, your local climatologist coming to you with the Paleocene. Now, the Paleocene has a wide range of climates, as you can see here on the map. Now, a warm temperate zone covered most of North America and went all the way up into Western Europe. Now, right when you get to Western Europe, around modern day Eastern Europe, there's a paratropical zone that stretches all the way down into the Balkans. And then as you get past that zone, more into Eastern Asia, there's a warm temperate zone. And now as you go farther south, there's an arid zone, or arid climate zone over Mexico, North Africa, and China. And as you even go more south towards the equator, there's a tropical zone that goes all the way across South America, the middle of Africa, and all the way through India that is still not connected to Asia. Another arid zone is further more south than as you go more south from the equator, and that's in the middle of South America, South Africa, and the southern tip of India. As you further even more south, there's a warm temperate zone. There's southern South America and Australia. And then for both the poles, it's just a cool temperate. It's not a cold zone. It's a cool temperate climate zone that exists over the poles.
Coming back to you, Ricky Reynolds from the Eocene. At the beginning of the period, Australia and Antarctica remained connected, and warm equatorial currents mixed with the colder Antarctic waters, distributing heat around the planet and keeping global temperatures high. But when Australia and Antarctica split apart around 45 million years ago, the warm equatorial currents were routed away from Antarctica. An isolated cold water channel developed between the two continents. The Antarctic region cooled down and the oceans around it began to freeze. The northern supercontinent of Laurasia began to break up. As Europe, Greenland, and North America drifted apart, the orogeny of North America began and continued. Mountain building started in the Eocene, and huge lakes formed in the high flat basins among the uplifts because of the tectonic activity. Some say the Eocene hothouse world was caused by runaway global warming from released methane clathrates deep in the ocean. Signing out.
Deciduous trees have taken over the tropical evergreen. Among the mammals, we can now see the existence of bats, elephant ancestors, whales, and the first shark. Mammals now have long, thin legs, along with hands, feet, and differentiated teeth, which are adapted for chewing. Back to you guys.
Hi there, your local climatologist here with bringing you the Eocene. Now in the Eocene, the climate was relatively the same as the Paleocene, but it still differed in many ways, especially the tropical zone. The tropical zone expanded and reaching all the way down to the middle of South America at this time, as you can see on this map. And then it covered most of Africa. Most of Africa was a tropical zone. And the only almost arid desert parts of Africa were North Africa and South Africa. The arid zones also got compressed because the tropical zone was mostly taking over. Then the warm temperate climates over in North America and Western Europe actually expanded, cutting off the paratropical climate zone over Siberia and in the Balkans. And for the arid in China, there was still an arid climate over China. And then for the North and South poles, they were both still a cool, temperate climates, just as the Paleocene. But it was cooling down, especially in Antarctica, because of the separation between Australia and Antarctica. There is a cool water current that's developing there, which is causing Antarctica to cool quickly and for the climate to dramatically change. But for now, it's still a cool, temperate climate. Thank you. Back to you guys.
I need to get out to San Diego. I'm supposed to be watching the Pacquiao fight.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy.
Got some friends. Probably get some drinks. Are we hot? We're live. Oh, it's Ricky Reynolds coming to you live. Paleogeography expert from the Oligocene. Mountain building in Western America. Oh, I'm sorry. Western North America started and continued. And the Alps started to rise in Europe, and the African plate continued to push north into the Eurasian plate. There appears to have been a land bridge between North America and Europe, since the faunas of the two regions are very similar. Sometime during the Oligocene, South America was finally detached from Antarctica and drifted north towards North America. Antarctica became more isolated and finally developed an ice cap. Signing out. Right back to you, Carmen.
We can now see that cashew and lychee trees, along with roses, beeches, and pines, can now be seen, along with dogs, cats, pig ancestors, camels, pinnipeds, and toothed whales. Back to you. What? Crap!
Hi there, your local climatologist here, bringing you the Oligocene. Now, as you can see here on the map, the tropical zone along the equator was compressing. It was getting smaller, while the arid zone on both the north and southern parts of the equator, or north and south of the equator, were expanding. So now the arid zone over North America covered all the way almost to modern-day Washington, all the way along to modern-day New York. And the warm temperate zone was getting compressed, getting pushed up against the cooler temperate zone over the North Pole. So the warmer temperate zone was mostly concentrated around around Canada and northern Europe. And then the paratropical zone coming in, or that continues to be compressed by the warm temperate climate, is moving more into the Mediterranean zone, or modern-day Mediterranean Sea. In the southern hemisphere, the warm temperate climate was getting really compressed and was mostly located on the southern tip of Africa, most of Australia, and just the southern tip of South America. The cool temperate climate moved north and started to compress between South America, Antarctica, Australia, and Antarctica. It was getting compressed. It was no longer over Antarctica. Because in Antarctica, a cold climate was developing, so this is when the ice cap started to form. And that's it for the Oligocene. Back to you guys.
Ricky Reynolds, your local paleogeography expert, right back at you. In the Miocene, mountain building took place in Western North America, Europe, and East Asia. India continued to collide with Asia, creating dramatic new mountain ranges, also known as the, you guessed it, Himalayas. The Test Seaway continued to shrink and then disappeared as Africa collided with Eurasia, the Turkish-Arabian region, between 19 and 12 million years ago. The subsequent uplift of mountains in the western Mediterranean region and a global fall in sea levels combined to cause a temporary drying up of the Mediterranean Sea. Uplift of East Africa in the late Miocene was partly responsible, not wholly responsible, partly responsible for the shrinkage of tropical rainforests in that region. And Australia got drier as it entered a zone of low rainfall in the late Miocene. Going back to Carmen, Ricky Reynolds out. Ricky, coming back to you. It was brought to my attention. Did not mean to offend those viewers out there. Himalayas, not Himalayas. I'm sorry. Ricky out.
Now in the Miocene, we can see that grasslands have undergone a major expansion, and we can now see that diversity among the species have risen. There are at least 100 species of apes that exist. Also, we can see beaver-like animals, rhinos, raccoons, deer, and a variety of birds, such as dabbling ducks, owls, plovers, cockatoos, and crows. Back to you guys.
Hi there, Ricky Reynolds bringing you the climatology for Miocene. Well, pretty much the subsequent uplift of mountains in the western Mediterranean region and a global fall in sea levels combined to cause a temporary drying of the Mediterranean Sea. Also, uplift in East Africa in the late Miocene was partly responsible for the shrinking of tropical rainforests in that region as well. And Australia also got drier as it entered a zone of low rainfall in late Miocene. Thank you. That's climatology from your paleontologist, Ricky Reynolds. Oh, paleogeographist. Ricky Reynolds coming back to you. Coming straight out of the Pliocene. South America became linked to North America through the Isthmus of Panama during the Pliocene, making possible the Great American Interchange and bringing a nearly complete end to South America's distinctive large marsupial, predator, and native ungulate faunas. The formation of the isthmus had major consequences on global temperatures, since warm equatorial oceans were cut off and an Atlantic cooling cycle began, with cold Arctic and Antarctic waters dropping temperatures in the now isolated Atlantic Ocean. Sea level changes exposed the land bridge between Alaska and Asia. Ricky Reynolds signing out.
Thank you, Kyle. So now we're in the Pliocene. Deciduous trees have proliferated and grasslands are more widespread. The first hominids, human ancestors, are seen. In North America, we can see that mastodons, bears, ground sloths, and armadillos have arose. These and other species have invaded South America as well. In Eurasia, stegodons, cows, antelopes, hyenas, and saber-toothed cats. In Africa, early giraffes are now seen. And Australia has been mainly dominated by marsupials. Birds that still exist? Forest rallids and titanus. Oh, this just in. The existence of venomous snakes has increased with the ongoing evolution of rodents and birds. Back to you guys.
Hi there, your local climatologist here bringing you the Pliocene. Now today we're going to talk about the weather changes that happened during this time period. Breaking news! Just came in. The warm equatorial ocean currents were cut off and an Atlantic cooling cycle has begun, with cold Arctic and Antarctic waters dropping temperatures in the now isolated Atlantic Ocean. Oh my god. Sea level changes exposed the land bridge between Alaska and Asia. This is amazing. Now, more so than ever, the climate of yesterday is the climate of today. Thank you for tuning in. Now back to you guys.